Number 3. Man on the bus. So, I take transit home every day. Takes me about 2 hours and my last bus is 45 minutes long. While I'm waiting for that bus, I see a homeless man packing back and forth with his cart. Normally I don't care about things like that because I work with homeless youth, but I noticed he kept staring at various women and even tried to start up a conversation with one. So I was on alert and put in my headphones to signal that I'm not open to conversation. Then he notices me when the bus pulls up and gets on the same bus as me. He sits down next to me and tries to start a conversation. At first, I didn't notice he was trying to start a conversation with me because I had my headphones in. But when I turned in his direction to see what stop we were at, he took that as an invitation that I was open to talking to him. He started getting so angry that I was not talkative to him, that he started raising his voice and I could hear him talking over my headphones. But I couldn't make out what he was saying. I am hard of hearing. Then I noticed in my peripheral vision that he starts touching himself over his jeans. I was texting one of my guy friends and told him about what was happening on the bus. I got really paranoid that this guy was gonna follow me home because the bus lets off really close to my house. So I got off 2 stops early near the shopping center. This man gets off at the same stop as me. I try to rationalize it as being a shopping center. So maybe he's just gonna hang out there. I dip into the closest building, which is Panda Express. Then I see him following me there and smoking a cigar outside waiting for me. I decide that I should bide my time by getting food and waiting it out, hoping he'll get bored enough to leave. Here's my fuck up. I start eating towards the back of the building, where I can still turn around and see if he's there because I was hoping if my back was turned, it was signal that I'm not interested. When I'm about a third way through my Panda Express, I turn around to check if he's still outside. He is not still outside, he is sitting in the boat right behind me with his back to me. I pack up my food and throw it in my mobility device and make for the exit as fast as possible. At this point, my friend calls me to make sure I'm safe because I'm walking as fast as I can home. I turn around to check if he's still following me and see that he's still inside Panda Express, but I can see him through the window, throwing his arms up and yelling at me. I start speed walking as fast as I can home, which is about a mile from my house, so that's a lot for me. I kept looking over my shoulder to see if he was following me, but thankfully he was not. Maybe he had a full plate of food or something, I don't know. I truly don't know how long he was behind me. My friend stayed on the phone with me until I got home and then talked to me for a little while so I could calm down from my anxiety. For the rest of the week I was taking Ubers home, which cost around $40 each time because I was scared to run into him again. Thankfully, I haven't seen him at the bus stop since, but I hope he never comes back. Number 2. To the man who hunted me through downtown Long Beach, let's not meet again. I am still shaking while writing this, but I'm posting it as a warning to anyone walking alone at night. And honestly, as a reminder to trust your gut no matter what. 2 nights ago, I was walking by myself in downtown Long Beach. If you know the area, I was walking from the Pike to the Westin Hotel parking structure to get my car. The walk itself is 10 minutes. To give you some context, usually I'm completely oblivious when I walk. I love walking and I love being by the beach. I always wear headphones with my music blasting and I'm totally in my own world. I also usually wear heels when I dress up. I was wearing a beach leather dress last night, but because of how far the parking lot was, I decided at the last second to wear flat shoes. That single decision and the fact that I left my headphones off probably saved my life. I was about a block away from my car, crossing the street, when I noticed a man. ranging from maybe a few years older to 10 years older, watching me. He crossed halfway into the street, but then abruptly darted back to the exact same block I was on. I made a left turn at the corner. He went straight. I continued walking for a while. I was close to nearing the edge of the block when I turned around, and I realized that the same man that doubled back was walking in the same direction as me. All the way down at the point of the block, I started to panic. I tried to duck into an entrance to get off the street, but I couldn't find my ticket in my purse, and even if I did, there was no way to get in. I was trapped outside. I kept walking and looked back. He had made a left and was closing the distance. Up ahead, I saw 3 girls who looked like they were heading to a club. I did not think twice, I just forced myself into their group and started walking with them. 4 of us, 1 of him. I pulled up my phone and called the police because at this point he had crossed the street and was right behind us. He still kept following us. We made a left turn, and the second we had a chance, the girls and I literally sprinted sideways across a crosswalk so he couldn't catch up before the light changed. There was a bar right ahead, and we ran inside screaming for help. When the man walked past the bar, he didn't even look at me. He just kept going straight like he hadn't just spent the last few blocks hunting me down. The absolute second his isolation and privacy were stripped away, he acted like nothing happened. I made it home safe and unharmed because of those 3 amazing girls and because I happened to have flat shoes and no headphones. If I had been at my usual baseline, buzzed, deaf to my surroundings and unable to run in heels, I don't even want to think about what he would have done to me when I got stuck at that locked entrance. Please trust your instincts. If someone feels like they are tracking you, they are. Don't worry about being polite, make a scene, find a crowd, and don't stop running until you're safe. Number 1. I was once pressured into going into a cult meeting. This happened decades ago. My uncle was a psychologist in Oregon and he helped me get a summer job. I went there to intern in the clinic and see if that was a career I might be interested in. There was a local religious group in that area back then. They had their own community that was sectioned off. They talked about things like freedom, love, surrender, and all of that. Everyone I knew said the group was weird and creepy. I never thought much about it. I tried not to judge. One Friday, a lady at work invited me to one of the gatherings. It was going to be that Friday night. She said there would be music, food, meditation, dancing, and honest conversations. I told her I was busy. She asked what I had to do instead. I lied and said I did not have a car and I wouldn't have a ride there. She offered to take me and said group members would be happy to pick me up. I told more lies and she had an answer for all of them. If you ever find yourself telling lies to a stranger just to uphold boundaries, that is probably because the other person is overstepping. I was uncomfortable for a reason, and by the way, I could have just said no, but that was not my style. I would much rather come up with an excuse and have the other person respect my excuse. It works with 99% of people. I ended up going that night. When I got there, it was very much like I had expected. People were hugging really hard and talking about freedom. There was music playing and some people were dancing. There was a lot going on there. The woman from work took me around and introduced me to people. At one point, they stopped the music to talk to the guests for the night. That was the first time I learned that I wasn't the only guest there. I do not remember too much about their speech, but it got really weird when they started talking about their teacher. That was when I knew this was the absolute last time I would ever go to that place. Before that, I just felt like I was awkwardly out of place. At a party during my season of saying yes, But once they started speaking about this teacher, I was not having it. They were praising him way too much, and they were literally worshipping him. I didn't like that. I tried to leave right when the speeches were over. I told the woman who invited me that I was heading out. She said they were just getting started. She suggested that I stay the night to get a better understanding. I told her I had work in the morning. This was a Friday night, and she asked me how I had work on a Saturday. I said I meant that thing with my uncle. We went back and forth. My lies were inconsistent, I am not a good liar. Eventually, she asked me if I was afraid. I said I had to go and I was sorry. Then I left and went straight to the parking lot. That was the last time I spoke to the group. I still saw that woman at work sometimes, but I think we both avoided the topic on purpose. I have a feeling she was afraid that I would tell other people at work about the whole experience and I would frame it as a really weird cult. This was before HIPAA. It makes me feel really old to say that, but we still had rules about patient privacy and confidentiality. That lady had access to all our patients' data. When I've told this story to people, they think that might have been the most concerning part. I don't know though. I don't think there's much she could have done with that other than send flyers. I don't think most of our patients were all that vulnerable. This all happened around the end of July that year. I left Oregon only a week or two later. I did not think about that group again. A few years later, the news came out about what people in that community had done. It turned out that members of the group had deliberately contaminated produce with salmonella to keep people from voting in a local election. Hundreds of people got sick. When I heard that, I was horrified, but I wasn't really surprised. I thought about how I really dodged a bullet. If I had joined the group or stayed with the group, I could have been brainwashed too. A lot of people who joined were probably skeptical at first, but it probably grew on them. If I had gone to 3 or 4 more meetings, maybe I would have also stopped feeling uncomfortable there, and I might have also started to get into it. Would I have reached a point where I was trying to poison the community too? There are many articles and even entire books about the group. People have reported other evil things they did. I do not know which things are proven and which ones are not, but I would bet the salad poisoning was not the only time they tried to hurt people. The real lesson for me is to uphold your boundaries. I knew my boundaries were being pushed when I started lying about why I could not go. The fact that I was in that position was a red flag. If anything even remotely similar happened again, I would not let it run over my boundaries.